Are you planning a trip to Disney or to Six Flags? Here are some things that you should know. It's been a year and we're still in this new normal. People are getting antsy, they're wanting to travel more, they're wanting to go do things again and try to get back to somewhat of a new normal. And I, for one, was feeling the same way. I just felt like I want to travel again. I want to go take my kids on a trip somewhere, and I decided I wanted to take them to Orlando. So today on iReview with Eman on CRYOUT TV, I want to share some tips that I wished I had been given before I had traveled to Orlando and been to theme parks, because I'm a huge Disney fan and theme park fan in general. I'm a sucker for a great coaster, or even the cute little It's a Small World rides. Since I was a little girl, my family has been taking me to Disney and it has stuck with me. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a big Mickey fan and I can't help it. When I see Mickey, my heart just expands and I just can't wait to give him a hug. But now that doesn't happen anymore. So today I'm going to share some tips and trades of what I've learned on my recent trip to Orlando. So when we come back, I will give you some pros and cons of why you should or shouldn't go right now during this new normal of the season.
2020 was a year most of us will never forget. Some of us lost our jobs, lost loved ones, and currently we still don't know what to expect of 2021. With a new administration in power, it's only right to assume that even the way we file our taxes have changed. But do you know of those changes? Do you know of the new laws for stimulus credits? Do you know of the new rebate recovery tax credit? What about your earned income credit, or how to claim you're dependent on last year's income for newborn? Well, we do. If there ever was a time you needed a tax professional to assist with your taxes, that time is now. At Passion Tax Services, we not only file your taxes for you, but we also make sure that your taxes are filed within the legal law limits and go over every aspect of your income to get you the most money that you deserve. We also offer cash advances to qualified filers to assist with the struggles of this pandemic period, and a free $150 value credit repair consultation. Let us fight for your money. Call 713-271-0700. Passion Tax Services, your one-stop shop for all your tax needs.
So when planning a trip to Disney specifically, there's so many fun things to figure out: where you're going to dine, what characters you want to see during normal times. But now, unfortunately, a lot of that stuff has changed. So I'm going to share with you things that you might not realize before you're planning, even though on the website it tells you, oh, we have this, you have to wear your mask, you're going to have hand sanitizer literally at every little station. But they don't go into the details of what's really different when you go to Disney. So I want to share with you, if it's your first time, to be honest, I wouldn't recommend going now, because you're going to miss the magic, the feel of the cast members who are in character. It was not like that this time. When they're worried about your health and safety, the last thing they're going to be like is, come inside and welcome to, that's all gone. They're just not in their character. They're not into that bubbly feel that when you go to Disney you expect. Like, I always like the reason I go there is because I want to feel I'm escaping reality. I'm in a world immersed and everyone's in character. It's like being in a film. That's all gone. All they do is tell you, lift your mask up, make sure it's over your nose, make sure you're not eating in line, make sure you're 6 feet apart. I mean, it's literally like that every minute that you're walking around the park, and it really destroys the magic of the experience. If you've been there a few times and you're okay with that, yeah, go for it. It's not gonna, you know what to expect, you know what you're gonna see. So if it's not gonna ruin the magic for you, then go ahead and go. But if it's your first time and you're so excited to take your little one to see Mickey Mouse and Pluto and Ariel and Cinderella and all these characters, you're really gonna miss out if you're going right now. And so that's one of my biggest takeaways from my trip is they don't have, you cannot hug the characters. You cannot take pictures with the characters. We had to, the character was literally more than 6 feet away. And you know, you can't even ask the cast members for pictures because they can't hold your camera. So it's just not the full experience that you're gonna have if you can wait another 6 months, hopefully, and things are back to normal. I did ask them because not to ruin anyone's experience who's never been there, but when you go into a ride, a lot of them give you like this little backstory so that when you go onto the ride, you're like in a little bit of a, you're trying to save a character, you're trying to get away from something, there's a little story, and those have all been eliminated. So basically, you're in a line that now goes all the way outside of the original structure of the line because they're trying to keep everyone 6 feet apart. So it's almost like all you see is lines everywhere because they literally go all through the park. So sometimes you might walk from one side and you're getting to the ride, and then you have to walk another really long way to get to the start of the line because everything's so spaced apart that the line goes so far outside of the turnstiles that are designed for the ride. So it feels like you're waiting an hour. You might wait an hour, but it's really more like 20 to 30 minutes, which is not bad for a ride in general. But you just feel like there's just people everywhere. The lines are so long, it's hard to find. They do have people holding a sign saying start of the line, and it shows you which ride it is, but you just feel like there's just so many people everywhere, even though normally there are crowds if you're going to during a busy time, but it just seems like everything is just kind of all over the place. I mean, they are doing a good job. They are very organized. They're all making sure your health and safety is really their priority, which is wonderful. I mean, nobody wants anybody sick or to get COVID, but it's just the experience is definitely different. You're going to have a lot of, and I hate to say this because I'm such a, I love theme parks, but I am a Disney fan at heart, and just to see people just being bitter, they just don't feel like they're happy to be there, which usually they are. I mean, you would see like at Epcot, the beauty of Epcot was having people from each of those countries represented working there and giving you the cultural experience of that country that they're from, and they would tell you, you know, you would see their name and what part of the country they were from, and it was just so beautiful because they would share, you know, little things from their countries. They would give you more of that experience, and that's all gone because there's no international travelers that can work there right now. So that's another thing. You just don't have any of that connection anymore to the country. It's all people that are from Orlando that are working there. And even when I would ask them, because I just love all the stuff that goes, and I just want to make sure that everything will go back to normal. So I ask them all the time questions, and they said, yeah, a lot of these employees aren't even doing the jobs that they were originally hired for because they're so worried about sanitizing and making sure. So they're not even working at what they've been trained to do for so many years. So they're doing something else. So it's kind of throwing them off, which is once again throwing off their whole attitude and demeanor because they're just so focused on doing something new they've never done before. So I love that they are cleaning, but it's just like I feel that everything has kind of been totally changed. I did go to Universal as well, and Universal is doing the same thing. But what I noticed at Universal is a lot of them are still in character, so that was kind of nice. But Disney is not really in character at all. There's no, like I said, the stories are gone. They will be back, all the little rooms, because everything is closed in, right? So they said they can't have people in close proximity, doors closed, there's no breathe, you know, the air, we're all breathing the same air, so they had to shut down all of that. So, so they will bring them back once COVID is clear and all the CDC guidelines have been removed. But until then, if it's your first time, I really think you should wait. I know it's so hard. It was so hard for me to wait because it had been quite a few years since I've been in. Like I said, I'm such a Disney fan, and I was so excited to take my kids who basically really don't remember their first time because they were so young. So it was almost like a first time, and I wish I waited a little longer because They didn't mind, but I minded as a parent. I wanted them to have the full experience, going on the Twilight Zone and seeing the Twilight Zone story with the music, you know, that, and even though they didn't grow up seeing Twilight Zone, but they would have had a little bit of an experience and be like, yeah, what is Twilight Zone? And they actually did ask me, they're like, what is it? What's the show? And I said, it was this kind of sci-fi show, kind of horror mix. It was I don't know if y'all remember that show, but you know, it just gives you a little bit of that backstory that goes with the ride. So in their mind, they're just going in this elevator that breaks down, and they loved it. They had no complaints, but I, as a parent, just didn't feel that they had the full experience that I had as a first time going. But I don't want to discourage you. I do want to share with you the positive things about going now, because there are positive things as well. They do cap the parks. So I think right now when I went, they were operating at about 35%. And even though it says 35%, that's still a lot of people, but you're not going to be waiting an hour at every ride like you would in the summer or during busier times. So having a cap is kind of nice. I wish they would always have a cap. I wish that they wouldn't, you know, fill those parks to the max all the time. But you know, at the end of the day, it is a business and I understand. But it's just nice knowing that it's not going to be as crowded as a normal day. So the parks, we were there, if you're there on the weekend, it's probably going to cap, because weekends are, you know, locals are going to come. They have the annual passes. They're going to come and ride the ride. So weekends, expect them to be busy. But even then, we were not waiting more than 45 minutes max for a ride. And I can, as long as it's not more than an hour, I can do that. So the rides were definitely, you know, 45 was pretty much the higher end. It was 20 to 30, which isn't bad. So don't get discouraged when you see those long lines. It's just to space everyone out. And it does move quite quickly. You do a lot of, it's kind of like a little power walk. You kind of walk a lot. And so, yeah, it's not bad to be waiting just 20 to 30 minutes to get on a ride. So that was the pros. Restaurants, you should book in advance. They do book quickly and you're spaced out. I did forget to mention that a lot of them are still not open, but most of them are. And they're always wonderful. The shows, there's no shows right now, so to keep that in mind. And there were parades, but they're kind of quick so that people aren't staying too close to each other. There are less people for sure, so that's, you know, you don't, and the fact that they are sanitizing, I kind of like that, because, you know, you have people touching things all the time. So even though it's for COVID, I kind of like that everything's getting clean pretty regularly. Everyone's sanitizing pretty regularly. They make sure that you sanitize before you get on anything, because they don't want to have, you know, which is great, because even not during COVID, I don't want to have, you know, icky, sticky things and not knowing what they're, so I do love that. I thought that was pretty cool. It is a good time if you, you know, don't want to worry, like weather-wise, the weather's great right now. In the summer, even, it's just so hot. If things get lifted, I would wait till fall. But other than that, the kids don't notice. If you're okay with it, they're really not going to notice. Lines are shorter, less people in the park. You don't feel like you're on top of each other. Just make sure you reserve. Tickets, I think, are pretty much the same. So even though you're not getting the full experience, you are still paying for that. And I know some people were saying, why can't they adjust that? But you know, it is what it is. Universal was definitely less busy. We, you know, got to see Harry Potter World, which was really cool. Definitely easier to get on rides there because it's more high impact rides, you know, and so the little ones can't go there. So it's definitely less busy during that time. So it's all in all, I really think that if you can wait, I know, you know, we're trying to get out more, it's hard. It's a hard time. It's been really trying. I know for a lot of us who love to travel, who love to go out, who love to be in public places, to go to concerts, sporting events. I mean, it's just a hard time, but I promise you, if you can wait it out a little bit longer, it'll be so worth it to experience it fully. They're having their anniversary. I think it's their, I can't remember, it's the 50th or I think it's their 50th. Yeah, the 50th. They're planning to, they're going to open so many new rides. And I think by the end of the year, it should be a better time. I don't think they'll, I don't know. I mean, who knows? We didn't think we'd be here a year later experiencing this, but here we are, another year, and I'm just hoping with the vaccinations and everything, we'll get back to normal, because I'm just so ready to get back to a new normal. So I hope you find this information useful, not just for Disney, but for any theme park, for any trip that you plan on taking, and that you find that, you know, it'll be good advice for your future trip. Thank you so much.